This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is sponsored by Crossbow Equine. If you own a business, you need to check out Crossbow Equine for all of your social media marketing and branding needs. Throughout her entrepreneurial journey, owner Kylie Bowen has gained a deep understanding of marketing, branding, and telling your story in an authentic professional manner to help you gather raving fans and paying clients and customers. For our listeners only, Kylie is offering a free 30-minute consultation call and 50% off your first month of services. Contact her today at 480-254-7650.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. This week, we're super excited to be here with Nikki Smith with Mrs. Smith's Cookies, who's also a full-time teacher, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, we're excited to have you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Cool.
Super excited, especially the cookie part.
Right. Well, before we get into your cookie business, why don't you tell us a bit about being a teacher, kind of how you got into that?
Oh, gosh. So I got into teaching almost kind of as an accident in a way. I graduated with a degree in psychology, and I knew I wanted to do something working with kids, but my plan was to become a guidance counselor. I thought that would suit my skill set really well. And but I needed to go back to school at the time. Wasn't quite ready for that, and so I ended up being able to get a position as a resource math teacher and worked my way into becoming a general ed math teacher. And so I've been teaching for 15 years now at Gilbert High School.
All 15 at Gilbert High School?
All 15. Yeah. And that's also where I graduated from high school. So,
oh, wow.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yes.
That's what year?
1991.
Oh, okay. Awesome. We did not go at the same time.
No.
But
I'm a Highland guy over here, so a bit of a rivalry going. Cool. So do you love math, or did you love it when you got started, or did you learn to enjoy it, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I liked math.
Okay.
It was something I enjoyed. It was something I was good at, but I didn't necessarily plan on teaching it.
Yeah.
But that was where the position was, and that's what they needed. And I started it was teaching consumer math, and so. I mean, I like finances, I like budgeting, and so it kind of just worked, and it was kind of one of those weird, oh gosh, what's the word for it? Divine intervention type moments where I just kind of fell into something that really worked well for me. And so, anyhow, yeah, I love teaching that. It is truly something I'm so passionate about, and I love watching students just have those aha moments where they're starting to see things as an adult. And my kids, I tell you, they're hungry for this information, and it's so awesome to be able to watch them come and ask me questions. And oh, Miss Smith, I saw this the other day, and so yeah, it's I love it.
Well,
it's so
great.
fun.
What you do is honorable, and we are grateful that you're doing it. And
thank you.
And your students are lucky because to have a passionate teacher who cares more about the students than the subject, and having them be successful, that's the greatest gift they can have at the school setting. So thank you for
thank you
for that.
And
yeah, you mentioned that you just kind of fell into it, divine intervention. And over the past 15 years, how have you continued to stay passionate, stay fresh, stay relevant, stay connected to your audience, your students?
God, it's just who I am. I'm the oldest sibling. I've always been the mother hen of groups of friends or whatnot. I'm a caretaker, and it's just something that's so second nature. And so each year I get a new batch of students that I want to help them and, get them on the right path and make sure they're not broke like the rest of America. So yeah, it's something that I I'm always learning about it, and I'm always listening to new information. And so it's not hard to stay passionate about something as important as personal finances.
Yeah.
So I don't find it challenging to get excited about it. Each year I go on my rants and and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Miss Smith is angry." Like, yes, they're taking advantage of you. So
that's cool.
That's good.
So with personal finance, I'm just curious because I think there's a lot of correlation, obviously, between business owners and taking care of your finances. Is there any advice that you always make sure to hammer into your kids? Like if they could leave your class knowing one thing about finances, what would it be?
That's hard to narrow down. I have 3, I would say.
Let's get them all.
All right.
Okay. Number 1, keep an emergency fund. Have something there to fall back on, because we're all going to fall on hard times, and it needs to be there to kind of help you out. Number 2, keep a budget. Watch your finances every month, because if not, you'll get to the end of the month and go, where did all my money go? I had all this and now it's gone. And number 3 is stay debt free. Avoid debt like the plague.
That's cool. Were these things that you did in your own life before getting into teaching, or did you kind of learn them along the way as you were teaching your students about it?
Weirdly, yes, I did. I had a lot of people tell me I was a Dave Ramsey person. Mm-hmm. I had no idea who Dave Ramsey was. But I just kept getting told that. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And then I went to go, when I made the transition from resource math to general ed math, I took the adult version of the Dave Ramsey course. Okay. And I sat there and listened to his classes, and I went, oh yeah, well, they're right. I was a Dave Ramsey person. So yeah, it's super fun. I'm such a diehard Dave nut. But yeah, it was really, yeah.
Cool. Obviously we want to jump into the business, but kind of with the correlation has...
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't answer the question.
No. Just moving on. How has the things you've learned in math kind of helped you in terms of running a business now? Has there been any correlation for you?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, everything from calculating how much it costs in materials and time, and how much, if you spend money on this, what's the fee? You know, what's the opportunity cost? Just staying, not going into debt. I mean, I've had, and it's very sweet. Don't get me wrong, but I've had people tell me, "Oh, I'll invest," and I'm not interested in that, because that's debt and I don't want it. So yeah, there's a lot. And math, how much dough I need. Yeah. How many cookies, I got to calculate the time it takes. And I laugh and I say to my husband all the time, if my students only, I always hear, math teachers, you get, when are we ever going to need this? Yeah. Oh, you need math to run a business. It's something I'm constantly doing, and I'm grateful that it's a skill set that I'm comfortable with, because math is not everybody's skill set for sure, and I understand that. Yeah.
Well, why don't we jump into the story then? How does a math teacher get into baking and starting a cookie business?
So I have always loved baking. Okay. When I was a kid, I would try to whip things up in the kitchen. No idea what I was doing, but I would whip things up in the kitchen. My grandma likes to bake, and I found a connection with her.
I hear it started with mac and cheese, right?
Oh, yes. Yep. Started with Kraft mac and cheese, but mine was special because I put the Kraft slices into it.
Nice. That's upgraded
extra cheese
right there.
Right. Yeah. It was premium. That's where I got my start. Humble beginnings. So anyhow, no, I've always loved being in the kitchen. It's cooking and baking. I cook dinner several nights a week for my family, and it's something I really enjoy doing. And so I I went to Joe's Barbecue, of all places, and I had their chocolate chip cookie, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was really good. I want to make that. And so I went home, and 2 years later, after many, many, many test batches, I ended up kind of creating this recipe through tweaking it and changing it. And and then I started making them for kids' basketball games, and I'd bring them in for students, friends, whatnot, have them out at if, we had family or parties or something like that at our house, I'd have them out. And everybody, oh my gosh, these are so good, you should sell them. I was like, no. And so anyhow, I had a couple pushers, a couple people who, because I'm not inherently a risk taker.
Okay.
I'm pretty shy. I'm pretty humble, pretty modest. And so the thought of actually doing anything like that was crazy to me. But I thought, what the heck, I'm going to give it a shot. So last November, I kind of just put a post on my personal Instagram and Facebook. Hey, if anybody wants cookies, let me know. And they did. They wanted cookies. And so I had, at the time, I look back at this, I had 19 orders between November and December. So Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay. And this is this past year?
This was last year.
Okay.
And I thought, whoa, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to now, I'm doing probably 19, 20 a week.
Wow.
So yeah, it escalated pretty quickly. And so anyhow, yeah, it was something, it's a passion that kind of was a hobby, something I thought I could have fun with, do on the side.
Yeah.
And here we are. It's crazy. And it's, and I've had I mean, there's been so many people along the way who've encouraged and helped and promoted. And, there's a lot of people behind the scenes who kind of have my back. And I'm so incredibly grateful for those people.
Love it. A couple questions. So you said that you, over a period of 2 years, tweaked the recipe, right?
Yep.
Did you ever reach out to Joe's Barbecue and say, hey, what's the secret ingredient? Or did you discover a secret ingredient that you maybe hadn't used before in a cookie that changed the flavor, the texture, that really gave yours that unique taste or feel?
No, I never reached out to them. I thought that would be a little presumptuous, so I did not do that. It's less of the ingredient. I mean, all of my cookies use the traditional, brown sugar, white sugar, butter, flour. The quality, I refuse to use anything less than, the best ingredients. And so I found that certain ingredients had a bigger impact. I found when I switched from regular eggs to cage-free eggs, I noticed a difference in the cookies. And I thought, okay, I'm sticking with cage-free eggs. They're more, but it makes a better cookie. King Arthur flour was another one. And I found it made a difference when I switched up that flour. So it's quality of ingredients. You put good in, you get good out. And then the other thing, I'm such a cookie nerd. I've read every article I can find. I've tested every cookie I can taste just I really liked how that one worked. And then I go back into the kitchen and try to recreate it to some degree. And a lot of it's strategy too. It's doing, what temperature do you have your butter at? Yeah. Makes a difference. Do you cream the butter or do you not? Those things all make such a difference in every cookie. So it's a little bit scientific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than just following a recipe and throwing stuff in, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then once I found one recipe that I seemed to have a really good base. And I thought I've kind of branched from that one now. So I tend to go back to that one and, tweak it as I need to. Yeah. So
that's cool. So question with that, how did you balance, I guess, patience and persistence? Because two things you see with a lot of business owners is, number one, they'll have an idea and they'll rush into it kind of too soon before their product is really ready. Or another thing, they're trying to perfect it and they're such perfectionists that they just never get to the point where it's good enough for them, and then maybe they burn out because they're taking years and years to try to get this ready, and then it just ends up fizzling out. So how did you, throughout that 2-year period, stay patient enough to wait till it's perfect, but also, be diligent and make sure that you still had a passion for working on it until it was ready to go?
Yeah. Well, there was no pressure. It was just for my family. I had no intention of starting a business with it. So I just took as long as I needed to. And I have a lot of patience. I'm a high school teacher. You have to. So there was no, I have to get this done so I can launch this business. It was really just intended. I just wanted to be the mom. It's quoting Monica from Friends, but I wanted to be the mom with the best chocolate chip cookies. So that was my incentive. So there was no pressure to it. It was super low key. It wasn't like I worked on cookies every weekend. I just, when I had time, I made them. And when I didn't, I didn't. Yeah.
So maybe it's more of a mindset thing for people who struggle with that. Just, taking away that pressure, because there really is none if you haven't started the business yet. You feel all this pressure if you are planning on starting a business, but if you just look at it as, hey, I'm just having fun, I'm going to try to figure something out, then it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, total hobby. It was just for fun.
Cool. Talk to us about some of these people you mentioned in your life that kind of pushed you and encouraged you to move forward. Because a lot of people, they'll talk about how family and friends discourage them from starting a business and don't take that risk, don't do that. But how did you end up with people in your life that pushed and encouraged you to do that?
It's funny. I've had a very opposite experience in terms of people telling me don't do it. I have people going, go for it, Nikki, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. So, I mean, first and foremost has been my husband. He is my biggest cheerleader for sure. And, it's asking a lot to have a business in your house. It makes things a little chaotic at times in a place that is otherwise peaceful and harmonious. And so sometimes it's a big ask of him, and he has never once complained. He just, what do you need? He does all my dishes. In which, that in and of itself, I have a talent in dish making. Wow. Sometimes I'll even impress him. Wow, Nikki, you really outdid yourself this time. But yeah, he's been a huge cheerleader. I have a friend at work. He's a marketing teacher, and he was actually a very instrumental part in kind of pushing me, just do it, get a food truck. I was like, no, I'm not getting a food truck right now. So he was, and he was kind of my sounding board in the beginning in terms of, what do you think of this logo? Or what do you think of this post? Or whatever it was. And so I would go to him because that was his skill set. It wasn't mine. So I would ask him. And then, it was right before Father's Day this summer. I got a message one morning from Scarlett at Made It, Ate It, Loved It. And she just wanted to order some cookies. And she doesn't know this, but I was freaking out on the other end because I knew exactly who she was. Because I'd followed her on my personal page. And I'm texting my husband and my best friend, and I'm going, oh my gosh, what is happening? Yeah. And she went and she ordered cookies. She came, she bought them. Thank you. Have a good day. I tried to totally stay cool. And she left, and then she posted and said, hey guys, check this place out. Oh my gosh. My phone was blowing up
really
all day long. And I eventually texted her later. I said, your followers are diehard, man. They will follow you into a dark alley. But it was mind blowing. And so I don't know that I would be where I am at now if she hadn't have done that. It just completely was a turn. I went from selling to mostly friends and friends of friends and things like that, to complete otherwise strangers. Yeah. And so she was very instrumental, whether she would admit it or not. She's super humble and sweet, but it was crazy. It just blew everything up. So
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, influencer marketing can be huge because, like you said, these people have followers that will do anything they tell them to do.
Yeah. It's a world I literally knew very little about. I didn't even register to think of, have an influencer try your cookies and see what. Didn't even think of it. So it was completely a happy surprise. Very happy surprise.
Have you tried to duplicate that experience again, trying to reach out to other influencers to get anyone else to post about it?
I haven't. I have a big hang up on authenticity. And if I'm reaching out, yeah, it could be authentic, but then I kind of know that behind the scenes I was, making it happen.
Yeah.
And so it just, the thought of, I don't know, it feels weird to reach out to, I don't know. I again, there's that shyness piece that I have.
Right.
And asking people to promote something for me just feels very uncomfortable to me. So it's a shyness thing, and I would never want somebody to feel obligated to post something. And I've never once asked Scarlett to post anything.
Right,
She's always
right.
just kind of done it, which is incredibly sweet of her. So
Well, the good news is you're selling cookies, and I don't know too many people would be really upset by having to try a cookie, right?
yeah, you're right. It's just it's a shyness thing. I'm not. How do I say this? I wasn't trying to build a business.
Yeah.
It was a hobby that accidentally became a business.
And I'd like to go into that a little bit because a lot of teachers will have side hustles. Right?
Yes.
Especially during the summertime, where a little more flexibility in schedule, do certain things. So this wasn't an intention to be a side hustle at all. This was just you making the best chocolate chip cookies in the neighborhood, being the best mom with the best chocolate chip cookies, right? And so now that it has evolved from a hobby to business, I'd like to have you share how it's kind of interplaying now with your teaching career and where you see this business going. You wanted to keep it kind of where it's at, where you're doing 19 to 20 orders a week, or do you have aspirations to grow it a little bit? Is it kind of kindling inside of you a desire to expand it?
That is the $1 million question that I don't know. I don't have the answer to yet. Balancing has been hard. It's been very difficult. And I was the first part of this year, we were online exclusively, and I had my kids in the kitchen working on their online classes. I had to lock myself in an office to teach my students, and I felt like I was failing at everything. Yeah. I was exhausted. Tensions were high. I didn't have the time to devote to doing anything well. I felt like I was doing everything poor. And so it took its toll on me for sure. And so I went to my assistant principal and I asked her if I could maybe drop down to 4 classes instead of teaching the full 5. Mm-hmm. And there was we really need you, but we had another teacher who got hired on, and he didn't have enough classes, and I had more than I wanted, and I was, let's give him. So they, fortunately, and I'm so grateful that she did this, but fortunately she let me cut that down. And so that took my preps from 2 preps, because I had an honors algebra class as well. It took it from 2 preps down to 1. And then I started to feel like I was treading water again. But it's tricky. I mean, I get up in the mornings before school, I make cookies, and then I go to work. I do my other job, and then I schedule pickups for after I get home from work. So the balance has been tricky for right now. I know that I've signed a contract. I'm committed to definitely finishing this year. I have a group of avid kids too, and I've been with them through their entire high school journey, and they're seniors this year. And so never in a million years could I leave those kids. We started this together. We're going to finish together. And so that was another key piece of, I can't just up and leave those kids. And so I kind of knew this year was going to be really difficult in terms of time management, and I'd be super busy and going all the time. But maybe next year I could work part-time teaching and do this part-time. Yeah. And that's kind of, to me, that's an ideal spot to get to, because then I get to do both things that I love. I absolutely love teaching what I do, and I absolutely love baking. And so if I could marry those 2 things, that would be, or do them in tandem, I guess, that would be an ideal situation. So I don't, where it goes from there, I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know that I'd actually want to open a storefront, to be honest with you. I listened to one of your other podcasts from Chunk because I was curious. Very good podcast. And he said something too that rang true with me. It's not making the cookies anymore, and that's what I love. It's writing training manuals and whatnot. And I thought, yeah, I don't want to do that. That's not my passion. That's not the thing I care about. So I just want to make cookies, and I want to teach. And where that takes me, I don't know.
Yeah. Follow-up question with that, and kind of taking in your little insight there from Chunk, because one of my favorite books is The E-Myth Revisited, and I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but it's about entrepreneurship and starting a business, and they use a fictional lady that just made the most amazing pies on the planet.
Okay.
And, everybody talked her into opening up a pie store. Okay. And then she drowned in the business. Yeah. Like just, every day in and day out. And it's not just making pies anymore. It's managing employees and budgets
payroll
and all that. Right. And she had lost the passion of baking pies and actually resented and hated baking pies. Right. And so that's kind of the whole premise of the book, is then putting systems and standards and structures in place where you're able to not just be a technician, but you can actually run a business successfully that allows you also to keep your passion. So
I'll have to write that one down.
It's a great recommendation for you, the E-Myth Revisited.
E-Myth Revisited, okay.
And that's the nice thing about owning a business is you have full control over how big or how small you want it. You can grow it to this huge thing, and you have all these employees in place. You can have it just you full time, and you're doing everything if that's what you want. But you can also keep it small, keep it part time. So are you? You still have a passion for teaching. You have the power to keep it at a certain level, and so you still have time to teach if that's what you want to do. And so that's one of the great things about having a passion and doing it on your own rather than working for someone else, because you have that full control over.
It's in your own on your own terms. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it like I said, this is a whole new world to me. The thought that I have this much control over my day to day is kind of exciting. I really do. I really love the idea that I can still do the two things that I really care about. Yeah. And that's really exciting to me.
So here's a tricky question for you.
Uh-oh.
If you had, let's say money wasn't an issue, if you had to pick one or the other to do for the rest of your career, baking cookies or teaching, could you pick one?
I don't, gosh, that is a tricky question. I don't know if I can pick one right now. I mean, like I said, I'm not a risk taker. And so with teaching, I mean, like I said, my husband and I very much think about retirement funds and things like that. And that's important to me. And I have a path with that, with teaching, and cookies doesn't provide that for me necessarily. I mean, there's things you can do, but by and large, it doesn't do that. But then cookies has the benefit of being able to work from home, which I kind of love. Yeah. I love, I mean, my kitchen's my happy place. That's where I want to be. So it's hard. I think I would miss either if I had to pick one or the other. And I think it would, now knowing what I know with this and knowing how much I love this, I mean, I think I would miss one or the other too much. And I love the interactions I have with my students too. High schoolers get such a bad rep. They really do. By and large, most of them are so sweet, and they're super positive and optimistic still, and they haven't been jaded by the world yet. And to keep me around that mindset every day is really, I'm very thankful for that.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
I just want to go back real quick. I'm curious, was there like a specific moment you remember where you decided to take that first step and go from I'm just making cookies as a hobby to I'm going to try to start selling these? Like, was there something inside of you that had to like make a mindset shift, or was it more of like a process of getting to that point?
There was a lot of, years of, you should sell these. You should. Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I just like making them. And so, it took a lot of pushing from a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I can remember when I made that first post saying, hey, if anyone wants cookies, let me know. I posted it and my hands were shaking. It was so stinking nervous, because that's just, I don't post typically anyway. And so the whole social media part of this business, if I could pay somebody to do something, that would be it. Right. You can run my social media, because I'm taking a video of myself. I've done it one time and it took me 72 tries to do it. I was my hands are shaking. It's a shyness thing. Yeah. And so it makes you feel super vulnerable.
For sure.
What if nobody wants them, or what if everybody hates them? And that little doubt creeps into your head. And it was scary. I was scared, but I had so many people I have a wonderful network of people who are like, yes, I want to support this. I'm all about it. And I could not be more grateful. Yeah. A lot of it in the beginning was my fellow teachers. Yeah. That's, who I sold to primarily in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So something totally out of your comfort zone, but you were still able to
so out of my comfort
to go
zone.
For it. What would you say to a young entrepreneur who's kind of nervous in a similar situation, trying to do something out of their comfort zone to take that first step?
We can do hard things. Yeah, I have a former student. She gave me this little picture, and it says, "We can do hard things," and it's something that I remember all the time. Life's not easy, things aren't easy, but you can do it, and you just one foot in front of the other, and don't start with these big, huge, endeavors. Start small. I'm going to sell 12 cookies, or I'm going to, I don't know, mow 4 lawns this week, or whatever it is. Start small and build it layer upon layer. Build it slow. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Yeah. Quoting Dave Ramsey. But yeah, it just take your time and just start ease into it. You don't have to jump both feet in. It doesn't have to work that way. Yeah. It can, but it doesn't have to. That's
great advice, Nikki, because a lot of people, entrepreneur success stories, a lot of them talk about the whole, facing your fear, jumping in with both feet, selling your house, living off that, and it went. And for every one of those, there's, a lot of people that lost their shorts, right?
Exactly.
And so for those that are little less willing to take risks, more risk adverse, I think what you've shared is really important, that you have the security of your teaching income, and you're slowly growing this, and it may grow more, and you might be in the spot where you're like, this is satisfying exactly what it needs to do, and I still get to make a difference in the classroom, and I'm still passionate about it, and so I'm intentionally choosing to keep this exactly how it is so that I can continue. But you've given a great, advice, courage, example to those that are a little more risk adverse, but still have a little itch inside that wants to start that little side business. Right? It doesn't have to make millions of dollars. It can, keeping it that passionate, enjoyable hobby is a key to longevity and success.
Yeah. Yeah, and that tends to be how I do most things. I I'm a classic overthinker, and you know, I don't jump into anything without everything's baby steps and building it layer upon layer. It's just how I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's the only way it would work for me. I think if I had started out with these huge lofty aspirations of, I'm just going to open a shop and I'm going to, I don't know that would have worked for me. Just because it's not my nature.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm dying to kind of hear more about the actual cookies, because I know you started off with chocolate chip, but looking at your Instagram, looks like you've ventured out. You've got a lot more flavors you're doing now. So can you kind of tell us about, I guess, that process and some of the different cookies that you've created?
Yeah. Gosh, I don't even have a count of how many flavors I have, but once you get comfortable doing one thing, you kind of crave something new a little bit. And so I'll do that for a period of time. And then it's like, all right, I always kind of have this little queue going in my head of the flavors I want to start or try next. And it comes from so many places. I mean, I try to follow cookie pages all over the country and the world even. And I get inspiration. I draw inspiration from them. And, then I saw, or Pinterest, and some of it comes from my customers. I'll have customers message me, "Oh, my mom used to make these. Can you try to come up with this recipe?" Or, "Oh, I tried this the other day. It was really good. I think you could make it really good." And so they'll message me, and that's so cool, because when they feel like they have buy-in and they're part of this too, that's the sweet spot, I mean, I did my seasonal flavors. And of course I tried probably more than I wanted to. And then, I have husbands and friends, and I brought them into my students. What do you guys think? Because they'll be honest with me. And then, but I asked the people who are following me on my Instagram account if they wanted to be taste testers. Overwhelmed with how many people were willing to sign up and try the cookies.
Try a cookie. I'm not surprised.
I was dumbfounded by that. And so anyhow, long story short, I ended up picking, I think, 9 different people just kind of randomly.
Yeah.
And I got feedback from them, and I listened to it. I mean, there were people who were like, this texture didn't work, or this could use that. And I was like, okay, great. And now they've got buy-in. Now they're part of this too. Yeah. And I'm just kind of drawing people in, and it's like, this is our thing, not just my thing.
They're your next network marketer. They're your next influencers.
Yeah. Is it hard for you at all to receive negative feedback about your cookies?
Yes.
Yeah, how do you not take that personal, right? How do you not take that personal? You put your heart and soul. I mean, it's not...
I do.
a lot of teachers have a hard time with feedback because, you put your whole heart and soul into that classroom. And so it's like every student matters. And if one student doesn't have a good experience, you can beat yourself up pretty bad.
Yep. Even
though you've had a really positive impact on 149 others.
Oh, yeah. You perseverate on the negative. Yeah.
So with that, of wanting to make a difference for everybody, like how have you positively dealt with feedback where a customer said, this doesn't work for me, I don't like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, fortunately, they were very kind about it. We love this and this and this. Here's a one piece of... And I was asking for it. Right. They gave me what I was asking for. And I need to listen to that no matter how hard it is, because if I don't, what's the point? Then I'm selling bad cookies, so it's not, I mean, I'll focus on the negative, and I get carried away with that, and it's just part of it, you just deal with it and you move on. And I mean, it's kind of like I teach my kids, if you make a mistake, you say you're sorry, that you fix it, and then you move on. Yeah. And that's all you can do. And so, I mean, I don't know if I would call putting too much salt in a cookie a mistake, but you know what I mean? Okay, I hear you, I'll fix it and move on.
Yeah. How seriously do you take one person's advice? So let's say like you really like the texture of a cookie, but then this person comes to you and says, I wasn't a fan of that. Like, how do you balance what you think versus what your customers think? Great
question. And at the end of the day, I have to sell something I'm confident in and I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And so I take that into consideration. If I get something that, okay, well, I really like it, but it's just a minor fix that might actually improve it, then give it a shot and try it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't like it, I can always go back. Not everybody's going to like everything.
Right,
you know?
right.
Some of us like different flavors. I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm being entirely honest, there's flavors where it's like, okay, I see that this is a good cookie, but it's not my personal favorite flavor. So I take that into consideration, and if I get the same critique from multiple places, okay, we'll take that one seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and so you kind of you put it through a filter.
Nice. What are some of your favorite flavors that you've made?
What are my favorites? It's like picking a favorite child.
That's easy.
I mean, my chocolate chip has a soft spot because it was my first,
the original.
my first baby.
Yeah.
I really love the salted caramel. I love cinnamon so much. So I love my snickerdoodle, and I like my oatmeal a lot because it has a little bit of cinnamon in it. So those are some of my favorites. And the lemon. I'm a big lemon person, but I've learned not everyone is. So that one's a mixed bag. But the last time I offered it, and I don't offer it that often because I feel like not everybody likes lemon.
Yeah.
And the last time I offered it, almost every single person ordered it. So I thought maybe I need to revisit that idea. So I pay attention to those trends a lot. Which ones are selling, which ones are, is every single person ordering this type of cookie? Okay, that's a good one. And so I pay attention to those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we have a cookie right in front of us.
You got a couple in there.
I was wondering if we could maybe do a live taste test on the show and see what we think of it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
My dream job has been to take over Guy Fieri's job. So,
this is your chance.
This is my chance.
The top one's a molasses one. Ooh. And that's one that's, some people love that flavor. I've learned a lot of people. I did a little poll on Instagram. Half the people hadn't tried it before. Huh. So the top one's molasses, and then inside there's 9 different flavors. So,
do you want to open it up? Or
open it up. Let's try it out. Oh, wow. So while Dylan's open that up, talk to us a little about the ordering process. So with 9 different flavors, I mean, you're making batches of cookies before work. Like, do you have a flavor of a day? Like on Monday, you only make 1 or 2 types of cookies, and Tuesdays you only make a couple. Like, talk to us a little bit about how you balance people's requests with your limited time and not able to make multiple batches of multiple cookies every single day, I imagine.
Right. So what I it's changed. In the beginning, it was, what did you want? I'll make it, and over time I realized people really like a mixture. They want a variety. And so I realized that in order to do this in a way that works for me, I have to rotate flavors. And so each week I offer 5 flavors. Chocolate chip is kind of always there. It's always going to be number 1. But after the other 4, I rotate through. And I have a website that I created. It's missmisscookies.com. And I have an order form. I put all my teaching tools into creating all of it. I know how to do a Google form really well because of school, and so I put my orders on a form which is linked on the website. And so it's custom. They can pick whatever amounts or sizes that they want, and I take all those orders, load them into a spreadsheet, and then each day I only take as many as I can fit into baking before school. So, but I rotate them. So, no, I'm not making... I happen to have a lot of flavors in my refrigerator this morning because I had to make a bunch extra for my Halloween flavors that I was creating, which is why that cookies and cream one is orange.
Ooh, that salted caramel looks like just the most gorgeous cookie. Look at that thing.
Thank you so much.
It almost has a countenance that's just shining. It's just beautiful.
You want to go for that one then?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You go for that. I think I'm going to go for the...
You got to be able to taste it too, because I know it's probably going to be your favorite too. So I'll just take a little chunk off.
All right.
So they're very thick, right? That's very good. You got a great little caramelization going on at the bottom. Kind of has a creme brulee caramelization at the bottom that I love. Yeah.
I'm a fan of the texture too.
Thank you.
It's you still got enough doughiness in the middle.
Yeah.
Not overcooked.
As a kid, I always loved the dough.
Yeah.
But I'd rather eat a batch of oatmeal cookie dough than eat an oatmeal cookie.
Yeah. I hear
So
you.
I love that. That it feels like I'm eating cookie dough, yet it's cooked and got that caramelization on the bottom. Yeah, that's a winner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I need to try one more real quick, just to bite.
Please, go ahead.
So, this is the Biscoff one?
That is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hard
those
to
two are probably 2 and 3 in terms of which ones sell.
All right. And then what is this here? Is that just cookie butter that's a little melted on the top?
Probably, yeah. That's cookie butter, has white chocolate chips in it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Once again, just a slight crisp on the outside that just has a perfect amount of crunch to it. Nice and gooey in the middle. Some creamy melted cookie butter drizzling down as I take a bite. That's just beautiful.
I'm sorry, I'm just silent because I'm enjoying myself over here.
You gotta write all my descriptions for me.
He's the master of food description.
I've seen a few episodes of Guy Fieri, so he better watch out.
You're coming for him, Guy. Watch out, Guy.
Yeah, I'll be your official taster.
Yeah. The s'mores one's been really fun because this is when I watched Female Foodie. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she was doing restaurant inspired recipes or copycat recipes in the beginning of the pandemic, and she made these cookies from a place it was in Seattle, called Robin's Cookies. I hope I'm getting that right, but she baked it right on a graham cracker, and I thought, well, that's interesting. So I tried it, and oh my gosh, it is the perfect crispiness to...
So that's baked on a graham cracker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I found when you put it in the dough, because I always make my dough over the weekend, when you put it into the dough, it kind of starts to break down and gets a little more soggy. But when you baked it on there, it was nice and super crispy, and you got a little bit of graham cracker.
I don't think I can wait
and you
to try that.
Going for the other one now.
I gotta try this more. This graham cracker at the bottom. Okay.
That one was
You got
fun.
some melted chocolate. One of the problems with the s'more, actually, that you eat by the campfire, is it's really hard to get the chocolate to melt.
Yeah.
Right? So you have this graham cracker that's hard. You got the nicely roasted marshmallow, but the chocolate generally will stay hard.
Yeah. You gotta wait, and that's no fun.
So what's the secret to this creamy chocolate that you have on top?
Oh, I put the chocolate on when it was still warm. I baked them right before I got here.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect combination of cookie and s'mores.
Thank you. That one's been my husband. That one, and he likes the double chocolate one. That's been his favorite lately.
Yeah,
They
graham
rotate,
cracker's a
though.
winner.
It's really good.
Thank you so much.
So, there's several commercial cookie companies out there
Yeah.
that make great cookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new thing in the market. Like 5 years ago,
Sure.
there wasn't a crumble. There wasn't a that
Chunk, yeah.
a chunk.
Right.
They're new here. I'm sure you've tasted other people's cookies.
Yes.
Is it? Do you when you eat other people's cookies? Are you doing it as a food critic? Are you doing it as a entrepreneur? Are you doing it as just somebody who's eating cookies?
A little bit of all the above. I mean, I'm always going to taste it and mentally in the back of my head go, is there something I really like about this one that I need to, incorporate into my own? But I also just really love cookies. So sometimes I just eat them to enjoy them. So, I don't, competitiveness is not something I subscribe to as much as possible. I am very competitive with myself. Right. I set very high expectations of myself. Sometimes my husband says they're unrealistic, but I challenge myself constantly. So it's more, I do it to myself, but not when I try them. It's like, they did a great cookie and good for them. And, I can't have all the customers. I'm glad that they're there to help me out. So, not that I think I would get all the customers, but you know what I mean? Like I'm that's good. I'm happy for them. So it's not something, there's a seat at the table for everyone. That's something I kind of go back to all the time.
For sure.
So
it's a great mindset.
Yeah.
I'll bet that mindset helps you out in your profession as a teacher as well, where you're able to collaborate with your colleagues, share best practices, best ideas. It's not all about you. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So Nikki, we love having businesses on here with 20 years of experience and a ton of employees, just as much as we have people that just have a side hustle and love what they do. And no matter who's on the show, they always seem to have great advice. It doesn't matter how big your business is or how long you've been in, you always have something great to share with everyone. So could you share with us one last piece of advice that you've learned along your business journey so far?
Yeah, I'd love to. I have two quotes I go back to,
okay.
And one I actually already said, but we can do hard things. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's something you can be really proud of, and nothing good in this world comes without some hard work. So, that's one. And my other saying I actually have it posted in my classroom, is a goal without a plan is just a wish. And you gotta have a plan. You can't just wish something to happen. You have to be intentional in your decision making. You have to be intentional in your behavior if you want to make a difference in anything. And so that's one thing I don't just wish that this would happen. I'm there. The hard work is there behind the scenes for sure. I'm working all day, every day right now. But it's for a greater good. So it comes with hard work and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, we can see that you're definitely putting in the hard work, and we wish you all the best on your goals and plans moving forward from here.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, before we close up today, we have a little game we're going to play with you.
Okay.
And so how it's going to go is we've got a list of questions, and you have 60 seconds to answer as many of those questions as possible. So these are just, nothing you need to plan for, but just your opinions, things you like, hobbies, etc. So,
I'm terrible at these. Okay.
So rapid fire, you want to get as many in as possible. And I'll pull it up here. And Eric, you can start us off.
Is it one-word answers?
Could be 2 words, could be
just
1 word, could be 4 words, but it's short answer.
Yeah.
It's short
okay,
answer.
got it.
It's short answer because we want to go through as many as possible.
Cool. So you can start us off in 3, 2, 1.
Your dream vacation.
Probably a cabin in the woods.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
New wood floors.
Your favorite hobby.
Cooking.
If there was an Olympic competition for everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning a medal in?
Making dishes.
A song you've been jamming to lately.
Oh, White Buffalo. Anything from him.
If you lived to be 100, would you rather have the mind or the body of your prime self?
Mind.
Your favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Cookie dough.
Favorite fictional character.
Fictional character?
Yeah.
I don't know. Rugrats are coming to mind.
Favorite?
I don't even know if that's true, but
favorite smell?
Oh, men's deodorant.
What's your nickname?
Nick.
Pet peeve? Ooh. There's a time. We'll let you answer it, though.
My redoing things I've already done. Oh, it sends me through the roof.
Well, we got 12 in there, so not bad.
Oh.
You might be on our leaderboard. So we have a leaderboard of our top 5.
No way.
I think you might have made it. I'll double check, but it was close to the high score, so good job there.
That's shocking.
It's the teacher instincts there.
I don't know.
Okay, Nikki. Well, like we said, thank you again so much for coming on today.
Having you.
Thank you
we've really
guys so
enjoyed hearing
much.
from you. Why don't you let our listeners know where they can find you if they want to order some cookies?
Great. I have an Instagram account, Miss Cookies. It's MRSSMITHS cookies. Sometimes people leave the second S off. I have a website, missmisscookies.com, and I have an email address, missmisscookies413@gmail.com.
Cool.
I also have a Facebook page, Miss Cookies. So I feel like I said that 9 times.
Is the web address also MRS Smith S Cookies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Smith's,
it's all one word.
plural?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith's Cookies. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely recommend you check it out and test some of these cookies.
Yeah, you will not be disappointed.
We enjoyed them.
You will not be
Thank you,
disappointed.
guys. I appreciate that.
No, thank you again so much for coming on, and we'll catch you all next week.
Awesome.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Just a few things before we go. First off, we wanted to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Legend Acres. They're an award-winning, veteran-owned small business that offers dog training, service dog training, mentor training programs, and more. Legend Acres also offers online interactive training sessions and on-demand classes so you can train your dog from the comfort and convenience of your own home. Check them out at legend-acres.com. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds to rate and review and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know how we're doing and helps us grow so we can reach more locals, entrepreneurs, and help small businesses grow. Thanks, guys.